Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to season 2 of the Niqabi Diaries podcast, a platform dedicated to sharing the stories of the women behind the veil. This season, we will be speaking to more Muslim women from all walks of life as we continue to discuss their deep and intimate reasons for wearing the niqab. The Niqabi Diaries, our experiences, our perspectives, our voices. I'm your host, Samar, and thank you for listening. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, I'm okay.
Alhamdulillah.
What about you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine, very well. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for joining us today, sisters, for the Niqabi Diaries. Sister, could you introduce yourself for the listeners and tell us a little bit about what you do, inshallah?
Of course. My name is Salimata, also known as Sally. On social media, I'm known as fit_UR_fit. What I do, I'm currently a student. I'm a medical student in the University of Manchester, where I study physician associate. I'm also a fitness advocate, and I'm just trying to study the deen and trying to open a business in the future, inshallah, by the blessing of Allah Azza wa Jal. That's what I've got to say right now.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so sister, what's your Islamic background?
I'm Ivorian, so I come from the country of Ivory Coast, also known as Côte d'Ivoire.
My neighbour.
We're neighbours.
Alhamdulillah.
SubhanAllah. So I'm Ivorian.
Okay, mashallah. Allah Mubarak. So tell us, how did you get to come to wearing the niqab? Tell us a little bit about your childhood growing up as Muslim and this kind of thing, so you can kind of get an idea. Is the niqab something that your family practice? Is it something that's, recognized as the norm in your culture?
Yes, definitely. So by the age of 4, I lost my father at a very young age. And what had happened is me and my sibling, my brother, we got split between our families because my mother, obviously, she was quite young when she got married and she couldn't she couldn't look after us, you see. So I stayed with my uncle, who was, alhamdulillah, was very practicing.
Mm-hmm.
And my younger brother stayed with my grandparents. So I grew up in a household. This is back in Ivory Coast. And he was very practicing. His wives used to wear all black, niqab. So that I was kind of used to it. And my grandparents as well were very practicing. And alhamdulillah, my father as well passed away. He built a masjid with my uncles and stuff. So I kind of grew up in that environment. So it's something that I'm kind of used to in terms of the deen and stuff, alhamdulillah. So when I kind of moved to my mother, I was only 9 to 10. So, and I'm not trying to say anything bad or anything. My mom is very relaxed in terms of religion and deen. She's a very relaxed woman. And obviously, because I grew up with my uncle, and he's very on the deen, when I mean really on it. He was very strict on us from the get-go, young, making us pray the sunnahs every time. It was very that was my normal lifestyle. That was how I grew up, and that's how I thought my mom would have been here as well. But she was just very relaxed, and you just kind of do what you want. And obviously I lived in Newcastle, and Newcastle is a white predominant area, it was at the time when I was there, it was till this day I still feel it's quite white predominant.
So but Newcastle were you living in? Because I live in Newcastle.
Yeah, I will live quite close, I'll tell you, inshallah. Very, very close. So the school that I went to, it was all white people. There was barely any Muslims. That was primary school. And when I went into to high school, there was I went to an academy. So there was about 4 schools in the academy. And I kid you not, there was only I think the academy.
Yeah, my sister was
yeah.
Oh,
does she? So when I went,
she used to go there when it opened, because it was I think it was maybe a year or so in when she started going.
SubhanAllah. Yeah. So I went there, and I kid you not, there was about I think 4 black kids. That includes me and out of the whole 4 schools and the 6 women staff. So I constantly, when I was in school, I was constantly getting bullied. I'm not even kidding. Sometimes I'll come home, there's blood on my forehead, my eyes are getting pocked. It was really, really bad. I had a really bad experience in school. So this was just because of my skin color. And I feel like during that time when I went into high school, I still had an accent because my first language is still French, and I struggled a lot with speaking English and interacting with people, because of the racism, I isolated myself, so I didn't speak much with people. I just kind of like spoke with my family and just watched TV and stuff back in that time. So in school, it was hard enough being black, so imagine being black and Muslim and wearing the hijab. So it was really, really difficult for me. So like I wanted to wear the hijab. I used to make dua about it. I wanted to, and I wanted Allah to give me the strength. And I remember sometimes I would wear my hijab and cover up and try to go to the masjid, and like my neighbors are quite racist, and like they'll say like really horrible names, and I don't want to say because I feel like it's irrelevant. And so that kind of creates the fear in me, if you know what I mean, to even go to the masjid. So sometimes I'll cover up and I'll go into the little corners to go to the mosque and pray. Or what I'll do is like I'll take a hijab in my bag, and I wanted to wear it. I put a hijab in my bag, and we'll go on a school trip and I put it on, and then there was about 3 Muslims in my school, like females, but they were Asian, they were quite like in themselves, and they'll be like, oh wow, mashallah, like you look good with the hijab. And some of my classmates didn't even know that I was Muslim. Like during Ramadan, like you knew I was fasting, like but okay. But so yeah, I would hide my hijab. Sometimes I wrap it on, or sometimes I'll wrap like my hair and stuff. And I was quite young at that time, and my mom was just like, oh, like you're a bit young, just wear it when you kind of understand the religion and stuff. But I wanted to, because I grew up in a household where I understood it, but I feel like she didn't believe that I understood it. So it was really difficult. After that, it just became the norm to just kind of like it's like I was ashamed of my identity of being Muslim. If you ask me, I'll tell you I'm Muslim. But if we were in an environment, I wouldn't say like, look, I'm a Muslim, and you wouldn't know because I haven't got a hijab or anything like that. And so throughout school, I didn't really wear hijab. I just kind of like kept myself to myself in terms of my religion and stuff. And when I wanted to ask questions, like I'll ask questions. When it was Ramadan, I'll fast and stuff. So it was about when I was turning 18 that I decided to move to Manchester, and subhanallah, and I got offered like a place in the University of Manchester, and subhanallah, it was honestly, it was qadar, because I didn't even apply for Manchester. My tutor just picked it for me randomly, and I was like, just pick any, and she just picked Manchester. I was like, okay. And Manchester asked me for an interview, so I said, subhanallah, let me go and see how the city is like. I wanted to intend to stay in Newcastle, around like Durham, just around Northern, just to stay around family and stuff. And I just went and I did my interview, and the girl that I actually met there, she was a black Muslim who wore hijab. And subhanallah, when I saw her, my heart, like it was as if like I've never seen a black Muslim in my life. I was like, mashallah, like she was wearing a hijab, she was black, and she was just walking around the streets, and no one said nothing. And I was so happy. And as soon as I saw her, I was like, I made dua, and I was like, Ya Rab, like grant me the strength, and like allow me to wear the hijab and to implement it, and to just like I was just trying to wear hijab, not even like abaya or anything like that at this rate, you know what I mean? So I just made dua, and subhanAllah, to this day I'm actually friends with her. So I took her number. I was like, no, I have to be your friends. I've never seen a black like Muslim or hijabi, because I was in a white predominant like area, like the majority of my friends were all white, and like, there was about 1 to 2 Asians, so I couldn't really relate with anyone. And I felt like the Asians back in Newcastle kind of kept themselves to themselves. They didn't really include the blacks in. But I hope like it's kind of changed, inshallah. So after I saw her, I just fell in love with the city, with the Muslim, the diversity and stuff. And subhanallah, qadarullah ma shafa, I got a unconditional offer for Manchester. So I was like, that's it. I'm going to go. And I left Newcastle, and I went to Manchester. It was a bit difficult because I couldn't find the Muslim community that I saw, that I thought I would have like, found straight away. I actually was more friends with like non-Muslims again. But, I tried to go to the praying hall, and I was like, they were telling me not to come because it's only males. Every time I was trying to learn, there was like an obstacle, and there was a friend in my class, and I was like, oh, okay, so how can you read the Quran properly and stuff. Like I actually wanted to learn, but I just didn't know where to go. So that kind of like had a lot on a delay on me, and I would ask questions. And I feel like it's quite sad sometimes, because when people actually want to practice, and we have Muslims here, and they feel like they don't have the knowledge, but that little knowledge that you have, it's so important that you share. Because I was that person who would come to people and be like, what do you know, why do you wear the hijab? And they will stutter. I wanted to know, like, why you're wearing it, why are you close to Allah Azza wa Jal, like, how can you like give me dawah, like, where do you go to the masjid, where madrasa you go to? I wanted to know, but no one really like gave me those like the dawah that I wanted, or like sent me somewhere. And subhanallah, something happened, and one of my friends, my flatmate's friend was like, oh, my grandfather was an imam at this masjid and madrasa. I'm gonna send you the address, you should go. And subhanallah, I went to that masjid, everyone was just so welcoming. They had like a lot of like classes, and it was so diverse. There was a lot of people of my race, you know. And like they were Muslims, and they were practicing. And subhanallah, I was like a kid, you know, when a kid sees a lot of candies. That was just me. I was like, mashallah, like, I'm so not used to this here, you know what I mean? So since then, I just kept going to the masjid. They had a lot of like courses that they had. And you know, like when you purify your heart with knowledge, you subconsciously, you know, get closer to Allah, and you subconsciously change the way you talk, you change the way you dress, you know. So I was just trying to get involved with the sisters. To listen, they say like, when we saw you, were so enthusiastic. I was like, because I have never seen so many Muslims like of my race, and so diverse, and just so welcoming and lovely, like, and who wanted to get closer to Allah. Like I've always wanted to, and I had that eagerness to learn and to practice. It's just I never had the tools or the opportunity to do so. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so I met those sisters, and we would go to classes. They would encourage me, and at this point, could you know, I didn't wear the hijab. When I go to the mosque, I wear the hijab with like, you know, modest clothing, because that's what my mother wanted me to. She wanted me to still look young, if you know what I mean. She was like, don't like, don't be too like practicing to the point where you age, if you know what I mean. So she was just like, if you want to wear the hijab, so just if you want to wear the hijab, just wear it where you look kind of like, you know, young, and you look like your age. So I just wore the hijab and just modern clothing. And I remember we had a sister social night, and I think they would love me to say this on your podcast. So it's Al Furqan Sisters Corners. They had like social nights every Fridays where sisters gather and we just socialize and stuff. So I went and I saw this sister, and I was talking to her, and we just got along, and I was like, mashallah, you lot are so beautiful, Allahum barik. And after we finished talking and stuff, she wore the niqab. And I said, whoa. I said, wait. How old are you? And she was telling me, she's 18, 19 at that time. I said, are you married? And she said, no. I said, whoa. I thought like you wore the niqab when like you're married or something. She was like, no. She's like, no, you can wear it whenever you want, like when you're ready, when you think when you think you're ready, when you're closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. So as soon as I saw that, I said, khalas, in my head, I have to be her friend. I said, I'm gonna be her friend, subhanallah. And I did. I stuck by her. Like I went to all the classes that she went to. I followed her. I went to all the classes. Every time we come to the masjid, whenever she takes the niqab off, I will take her niqab, and I'll just walk around the masjid. And you can tell I don't wear the niqab because of how I'm dressed, you know what I mean? I was ignorant. So I would take the niqab, and I'll wear it, and I would just love it so much. And I was like, one day I want to wear this. I was like, and she was like, inshallah, ask Allah to allow you to wear it. And I said, I will, inshallah. And the thing is, like, even prior to that, like my uncle's wives and the imam in the masjid, his wives and stuff, like they all wore a niqab, and I used to always play with it. Sometimes I would take my headscarf and turn it into a niqab. I don't know if you can do that, but I would turn it into a niqab, and like my mom would always ask me if I bought a niqab. I was like, no, I just turned it into like a headscarf. So I always had my ways with like headscarves and stuff like that. I just loved it. And eventually, time passed. I started to wear my abaya and, you know, my hijab, and I just felt more at peace. I felt more at ease. Like I understood it now, and I just fell in love. And I felt close to Allah Azza wa Jal. So yeah, alhamdulillah. So fast forward to that, because we kept going to classes, and you're purifying your heart, you're understanding, and it would be ignorant of me to not act upon what I've learned, if you know what I mean. And I just felt like, yeah, and I just felt like I understand that. I understand what's happening. Like I understand the deen, I understand why we're covering, why we're doing this. It would be so ignorant of me to think what my family would think than what Allah would think. I'm not here to please my family, rather I'm here to please Allah Azza wa Jalla. I'm trying to get closer to Him and to get to Jannah. Do you know what I mean? So subhanallah. So that's what I was thinking. And prior to Ramadan, I spoke to a friend. I was like, I want to start wearing full jilbab, and like I've just wore the hijab for a year, I think. So I said I want to wear jilbab now. So I think a year or two, I'm not really sure, but jilbab, I said I want to wear jilbab, so trying to find jilbabs. My friend was like, no worries, I'll buy you your first jilbab and stuff. I was okay, no problem. And during Ramadan, I wanted to wear the jilbab for Ramadan and stick to it. And even before Ramadan, like I'll go to uni, to my lectures, to my exams with like jilbab. Like at this rate, I didn't care about what anyone said, you know. I just wore it. And like my family back in Newcastle, I told them that I wear jilbab and abaya. And it was, to be honest with you, it wasn't a positive feedback. It was kind of like, whoa, you're going a bit too fast. To my perspective, I'm not going too fast. I've wanted to do this for so long in my life, and I've had the opportunity to understand, alhamdulillah. I've had the opportunity to wear, alhamdulillah, and I've had a year to live, alhamdulillah. Like, why should I wait? Because you said so. Like, Allah has commanded me to wear it, you know what I mean? So it was really difficult. It was, the point was like, the hijab is fine, but just wear modest clothes. And I was just like, no. I wear, this was just abaya. I just said abaya. And when I started to wear the jilbab, lockdown happened. And throughout lockdown, I think a week after lockdown, I was watching a lot of videos about the jilbab, the niqab, covering the veil. And Ustad Abdul Rahman did like a series about the jilbab. I was just trying to find it. I was reading books. Like, this is just a week of Ramadan. I was just in fully ibadah mode. I was like, nope, I need to like come out of this Ramadan with something better. So after a week and a bit, I called my friends who wear niqab, and I started to ask them questions like, why do you wear the niqab? Like, how do you feel? Like, what do you go through on your daily? Like, I wanted to know. And they were telling me that perspective. Everyone had different ideologies and different experiences and stuff. And I was like, okay. And the girl who I met, Muad, I called and I was like, I feel like something's missing. Every time I go out, I feel like something's missing. I feel like I'm not doing what I'm meant to be doing. She was like, do you feel like that? She's like, when I started wearing jilbab, I felt the same way as well. And she was like, I was like, maybe I'm going a bit too fast. I was like, maybe I'm going a bit too fast. Maybe I'm not at the level of iman. Maybe I'm not at the level of knowledge. Maybe I can't recite the Quran properly with knowledge. She was like, no. This is all shaitan. If you think you're ready for it and you want to wear it, and she was like, you were so eager to wear the niqab since the first time I met you, then maybe this is your opportunity, and everyone's covering their face. Why can't you? And I said, okay, no problem. So I did istihara. I stayed in the house for 2 days straight, just praying about it. And then I went out with the niqab for the first time, and wallahi, all I got was positivity. Non-Muslims were saying salams to me. I'm not even joking. They were struggling, but they said salam, you know. They were saying salam to me. They were being nice. And I was like, maybe this is a sign. This is a good sign. And I spoke to my auntie. I don't think I mentioned, my auntie wears a niqab. And I was speaking to her and I was like, Auntie, like I just sent her like a little picture. She was like, Allahumma barik, I knew it one day you were gonna wear it. I was like, whoa. So I'm just trying to see if I'm ready for it, if I wanna wear it. She was like, no, like I sensed it. I know you were gonna wear it, like you deserve it. And she was just kind of praising my father. She was like, your father was a good Muslim, and like I'm sure he'd be proud of you, and that this is what he would be so proud. She was just, you know, praising me, and I was like, alhamdulillah, like, I ask Allah to just keep me firm on this, you know. And after 2-3 days, I just felt okay with it, and I said, khalas, like I'm gonna wear it. At this point, I didn't tell my family back home in Newcastle. My family like back home knew about it, but just not my family in Newcastle, because they're quite practicing and they understand it, and I know they would be more encouraging and stuff, because I didn't know how I was going to, you know, defend myself in terms of when the backlash comes, in terms of like, why are you wearing it, and how are you going to go to work, how are you going to, you know, it was a lot of hows. Like once it happens, it happens. So since then I started to wear the niqab, and I started to wear the jilbab more, and I just fell in love with it more, and I just loved it, because I felt like it was protecting me, it was preserving me, and it was bringing me close to Allah. It made me more conscious of Allah Azza wa Jal, the way I behave, the way I speak, and I just felt so content with it, to be honest. Yeah, that's my journey to the niqab.
Mashallah, it's a beautiful journey, mashallah. So yeah, subhanallah, it's interesting, like you know, especially your Islamic background, and obviously like you're still young now as well, but so you was living in the Ivory Coast till the age of 9, is that correct?
Yeah, 9, 10, yeah.
And then you moved to the UK.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah. Wow. So it's like, yeah, it's a big, I suppose it's quite a big cultural jump as well, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because I was around the masjid, like, because my grandparents, the way my father designed the masjid is that the family house is at the back and like the masjid is at the front. So every morning, Fajr time, you know, I was just used to the routine, waking up, and just I was used to being around people who worship Allah, like, you know, because there's a lot of people that come to the masjid. So I was just used to that environment where everyone is just loving, everyone is, you know, saying words of worship, or you know, everyone's encouraging themselves to coming here where everything is just different. I'm just in the house of the family, like everything's a bit relaxed, and not wanting to feel like I'm superior than anyone because I'm doing more ibadah, if you know what I mean. And I'm at such a young age as well, and just being like, you know, being told off to calm down, to take it easy, you know, like you're still young and stuff. But at that age, I already knew, because I got taught it, you know. After every salah, we would have, like, you know, khutbahs or little seerah sessions and stuff, and I would love it. I would love the deen. But coming here, it was just like, you kind of have to hide your deen to just protect yourself, if you know what I mean.
I think that it's not just that, it's even if you want to practice, you have to make so much effort as well.
Yeah, definitely. It was really hard.
Like, I think for me, one of my struggles just in Newcastle, like I found that I feel like it's hard to find, like, kind of, you know, like-minded Muslims. Like, there's plenty of Muslims here, don't get me wrong, but even when you find Muslims who are struggling to practice and they really want to, like, you know, get as much knowledge as possible and stuff like that, it's like not everybody's got time. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's having those kind of gatherings where you can spend time with those people, like quality time with them, like on a regular basis. They don't really have anything like that in Newcastle at the moment, at least from what I've seen. I've been here for quite a long time now, to be honest, but do you know what I mean?
It's really hard. Yeah, it's really hard to find.
And I definitely, like, being you know, African myself, I can definitely you know, I feel the same when it comes to the whole issues of community. Like, you do kind of feel like you're on the outskirts.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I recognize that too, because sometimes you might get invited to some gatherings and stuff, but like when you're like one of the only black face or something like that, it's just like, because I've sat down at I've been to visit some, you know, some of the Asian aunties and stuff, and people come and ask me if I'm Muslim, and it's just like, well, I'm wearing a niqab. You know what I mean?
Oh, I used to
I,
get, are
I,
you a
I
revert?
greeted you with salam when you came in, but then they just asked me if I'm Muslim, and it's just like, some people, like, in the Asian community, they have this kind of, they have this mentality like, if you're not Asian, you're not Muslim, kind of thing. Or
Yeah.
because I remember one time I've got this a business group. No, is it? Yeah, I think, no, was it? It's not Mike. It's not. There's a sister. She's got a business group, like a WhatsApp group. But one time, a sister, she made a request in the group. She basically said, oh, she needs somebody, a cleaner. She was looking for a cleaner, and she said, oh, but they need to be, she wants them to be Muslim, because obviously, like, the woman, like, that she needs, there's an elderly lady, she wants somebody to come and clean her house or something like that to help her out, and the person will get paid, but yeah, they need to be Muslim. So thought, like, what does she mean, like by that? Why does the cleaner need to be Muslim? Do you know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
Because if a cleaner is a cleaner, but I knew what it really meant.
Yeah.
What she really meant is that she needs somebody who is like Asian. Okay, I want to ask her, because she basically said, I said, why does the person need to be Muslim? And she goes, oh yeah, because the auntie doesn't speak much English. That's what she said. So I said, okay, well, what language does she speak? Because not every Muslim speaks the same language. You see what I'm saying? So in her mind, Muslim just meant whatever country she's from. That's what she meant. But instead of her just say, I want somebody who is speaks, Bengali or Urdu or whatever language, she specified, she said Muslim. But it's like, they don't seem to realize that Muslim is a term which, there's so many different culture Muslims, but for her, it just means the people where she comes from. Definitely. So like, when you kind of come across this kind of thing, it's like, you can see where the lines of segregation are being drawn, even if it's unintentional. This is how certain people live. They're used to this kind of that's just what they're used to. That's what they know. They don't know much of anything else, subhanallah. So
and Islam has come to just stop all of this discrimination, but subhanallah, some people don't understand.
And that's why I can definitely relate when what you said about, like, when you saw other Black Muslims, you just felt happy, because it's not even just seeing other Black Muslims, but seeing a cultural mix of Muslims, and there's not separated in groups. So I found that even in Newcastle here, like on the Eid, when we used to have like normal life, and Eid Day used to be Eid Day, yeah, you go for the Eid prayer, for example, and you will know. You could literally, if you could draw a map of the world, right, of the Muslim countries, you would just, everybody's already on their right place, yeah. So the Algerians are in their side, the Egyptians are the other side, Bengalis on the other side, Pakistanis the other side, Indians the other side. Everybody stands with their own people. In the middle, you will have the reverts.
Yeah, that's so true.
SubhanAllah. You will have the reverts, and it's like, obviously the reverts could be like anybody. So, and most of the time here, reverts are white, okay. But most Muslims, revert means white person. They don't think it means anything else. So if you happen to be, like, maybe you was from a Hindu background, you're Indian, and you became Muslim, people wouldn't recognize you, that you must be like do you know what I mean? Obviously, like, I can understand that, but these are the kind of things that Muslims don't think about a lot of the time. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, in the community in general, a lot of people don't think about this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's like, even for example, like, when it comes to marriage, okay, like, because this is a big thing now, like, a lot of Asian girls like to marry a revert. Okay, so
it's a fetish.
When they say that, it means they want to marry a white guy. That's what it means.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, okay then, because if you bring them a Black revert, it's just like, no, not this one.
The other ones.
Could be practicing, could be everything, even the Asian reverts. Because I've had this before. Like, there's been some Asian brothers here who have come to Islam. Very, very good practicing brothers, mashallah. And they're like really on the deen, but subhanallah, people, they're not interested. It's just like, you just think, well, why, but they just don't.
Just remind me of the hadith, what the Prophet Muhammad said too. You can marry a woman for 4 things, but always go for their deen first. Exactly. Deen, but
And that's
You
the
know,
thing, but
it's the
that goes
reminder.
for men as well. But people don't really see that, and it's fun. It's just I find it like just strange. Like I don't know, it's people's mentalities, and it reminds me of the other hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said that
Mm.
if you find a man that is good character and he's practicing his religion, something to these effective words, anyways. I'm messing up the hadith totally, but yeah, said that you should marry your daughter to him, otherwise there will be corruption in the land. And
Yeah,
like
definitely.
this kind of expresses so much of that, because a lot of the time, like, there are very eligible brothers who are practicing, the character is good, and people don't want their daughters to marry them. Why? Because of their color, or because of they don't have the job that they think they should have, or they don't have the standard of education they think they should have. Yes, definitely you need to have you need to be financially stable as a brother if you're going to be able to provide for your family. But a lot of the times the brothers are financially stable, but it's because they don't have this particular statuses that tick these boxes that people look for. They think
Mm.
like, oh, this is not going to be good enough. But money is something that comes and goes. Do you know what I mean? And education
Wallahi.
can be like gained at any time in your life as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's not, it's not to say that if somebody's educated that means that they're going to be the best for your family or whatever, because they might not be.
Definitely. And I feel like some people forget that, like, Allah is Al Razak. He's like the one that gives. But the same way he were giving something, the same way can be taken away from you. And the lesson I've learned from that is when I lost my father, I always take that and I'm like, I had my father that and he was taken away. So that money that Allah is giving you, that can be taken away.
Exactly.
And if money was the only thing that you offered, like, what else can you offer?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And it's sad. There's a lot of stories in this world where people have all and they have it all, and the next day they've lost it all. You know what I mean? So we have to try and keep firm on our deen, understand what it actually means by, like, Allah is in control of all things. Like, all we can do is tie our camels and put our trust in Allah, but Allah is in control of everything.
Exactly.
He's the one that gives us to us. He's the one that feeds us. So subhanallah. Yeah.
So, sister, you said you're a fitness enthusiast or advocate.
Yes.
So
Yes.
can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, because you've obviously your account is called Fit Your Fit. So
Yes. So I try my best to promote as much fitness, and I try to motivate sisters to be a bit active. So since I've started to practice, prior to that, I was always like an active person. I always like be doing sports, running, or anything like that. And when I started to practice and I started to cover up, I found it really difficult to find like places to exercise where it's women only, or like to even find like hijabis or Muslim women who are into sports and fitness. It was really, really difficult for me. And like even to go swimming and stuff, it was really difficult. It's like what do you guys do apart from, like, it's very important to have your ibadah and to worship Allah Azza wa Jalla, but you also need to look after yourself. What else do you guys do? Like, what other activities or hobbies do you do aside from coming to the mosque, going to school, or going to work and doing other things? So from what I noticed when I went to the mosque and stuff, like, I was the only one that was just trying to be active or do any form of sport. And at the start, like, the sisters just didn't know that I was really into it. They just thought that I was just like, once in a while. But once they've noticed me and they saw that I was taking it seriously in terms of what I eat and what I like, how I do my fitness and how I go swimming, how I try to be active as much, they were a bit intrigued by it and they started asking questions. And I started to look into research about Islam and fitness is a big thing in Islam. And it just reminds me of the hadith where the Prophet Muhammad said, take good time of your health before your illness, and your time before you have no time. So I was just thinking, I was like, subhanallah, like, once we're sick, and with this whole corona thing that's happening right now, we actually want to be healthy. We wish, oh, we did this, we wish we did that. So, and the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ would go on runs with Aisha and he would do so much things that are related to fitness, and I'm like, no one follows that sunnah. Why is that? And I just felt like the practicing Muslims should also practice not the sunnah that tells you to also be fit, be healthy, look after your body, because your body has rights over you. And I thought of the the health benefits that comes with it. And being a medical student, I get to see a lot of things and I get to study things, and I'm just like, whoa, this is serious. So what I do is I organized a few like online sessions with sisters, and during Ramadan we did some where the money that we raised, we just sent it off to a charity. Try to, like, you can still be active but also worship Allah Azza wa Jal with it, and also give it back to the community. We're planning on having like classes together and like booking a studio where we'll have fitness sessions with the sisters here, because there's no women only facilities available at all. It's so difficult. And even if there is, they're either really 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 small. Like I was looking for one everywhere, and the ones that I'll find is just like cardio. So I was like, you know what, let me try and gather a few sisters together, let's do some fitness activities and see how it goes, and let's try to involve and let's try to make it fun, and let's try. But I feel like some sisters just need that enthusiasm and also the facilities for it. So my aim is to eventually book a studio, invite some sisters where we can do sessions every week, and try to be as fit as possible, whilst we can keep our modesty and our shyness, if you know what I mean, our hayat, and just share what I experience on a daily in terms of how I eat, how I go to the gym. Alhamdulillah, I found like a women's gym, but it's quite far. But like what I eat and how you should eat, how you should look after yourself. I'm not asking you to be an athlete, but just look after yourself. It'll better your well-being in the future, and it will be good for your children to look up to you when you're doing these kind of activities as well, you know what I mean? And people around you as well, subhanAllah. So that's what Fit Your Fit is about.
MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. No, it's really good, and I think it's important. For me personally, as a mother, I've always like felt that it's important as a mother to work out, to look after your body physically, and because you are teaching your children by the way that you live, you know what I mean? And especially being a practicing Muslim, this is one of the things that it gets neglected a lot, like you said, which is not it's not in accordance with the Sunnah. Because when you look at the Sahaba, and it's not about, sometimes when you talk about fitness, people get it in that idea like, oh, I've never been skinny. Nobody's talking about being skinny, love. Do you know what I mean? Skinny's nothing to do with it. It's not about being, because some people look at somebody who's skinny and think, oh, look how fit they are. But no, the person might be skinny, but they've still got diabetes. They might still be unfit. They can't make
Wallahi, that's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like skinny is not the definition of what fit is. Fit is to do with your physical health. Can you walk up and down stairs? Can you climb a hill without getting out of breath? All these different kinds of things. And some people, everybody's got a different body sizes, so it's not a particular size of your body or shape. It's to do with just you being actually physically fit, so it's not something about looks, which people need to kind of get this out of their mind, because I think this is what gets a lot of women kind of almost they beat themselves up before they even begin. They just look at themselves and think, well, oh, I don't have that particular look, so how am I going to get there? So they kind of think about it like that. But it's not about having a particular physical look. It's about physical fitness, taking care of yourself, and being able to do physical activities with ease, with relative ease, So
definitely,
I think another important thing as well, which women don't take advantage of, is the fact that you have children, and children naturally want to be active. So this is, for me, it's a no-brainer. I know that sometimes, as as a mother, you might want personal time for yourself, but I think that if women would try to, what's it called? Stop going against the grain. Sometimes we want to go against the grain to such an extent that it makes us, we basically, like, we hurt our own selves. Yeah. So if your child is physically active, then make yourself to be that child's companion in its physical activity. Do you know what I mean? Like, take that as an opportunity to be physically active with your child. You don't have to be specifically going to the gym. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that, honestly.
And then you do that, make it something that you're doing together. Even if, for example, you wanted to put like an exercise video on at home or something like that, then you can encourage your child to do that workout with you. These are things that you could be doing. So then you're engaging your child in what they like to, in the fact that they like to be physical, but you're also being physical yourself, and you're, you know, doing your fitness. So it can be playtime for you and your kid. Do you know what I mean? But a lot of women, they don't think like that. They think, oh, I need to go to the gym, you know. And if you're saying you need to go to the gym in order to work out, that means that you probably aren't going to go to the gym, because you're probably going to find an excuse not to go, because you're going to say you don't have time because you've got kids.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is with fitness is like it benefits your mind, your mental health.
Exactly.
And like you said, like people, even after you've given birth, you go, some women go to that for that depression, you know. And as a medical student, we were constantly prescribing people to exercise and eat healthy. And I was like, for every disease that we were going through, they were like, oh, exercise and eating healthy, or it was a deficient of something, or they're not doing something that's related to your diet and you exercising, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I just felt like it was so important, and people really neglect it until it's too late. And to add to that as well, there's this stereotype of Muslim women not being, you know, fit or healthy, or like, so Muslim women being too shy to actually exercise. I've had people tell me about that, and I said, why? Like, there's nothing wrong with trying to look after yourself, looking after your mental health and feeling healthy. There's honestly nothing wrong with it. And you know, I get the stares sometimes. It's like, whoa, this Muslim woman is like, she's exercising, or she's doing something, or like they'll try and help me, and I'm like, I'm okay.
Yes.
I'm okay. I know what I'm doing. Like, you know, it's just, they're just so small-minded. They just expect like every Muslim to be like that, or to not be able to speak to themselves, like for themselves, or stand up for themselves. Like I was trying to get into the gym, and someone will speak on my behalf. I'm like, I have a mouth. Because my face is covered does not mean that I cannot speak. And don't just assume because a woman has to be shy and she has to have that ayat and stuff, I cannot speak to defend myself, I cannot do things for myself, you know. And you know, it's just to kind of break the stereotypes and just try to get yourself out there, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. No, it's a really, really good initiative, mashallah. It's really amazing. So sister, have you met other sisters who are similar to you in your journey to the niqab, for example, sisters who would really like to wear it but maybe they're not allowed?
They're not allowed. Not at the moment, not that I'm aware of. I wasn't allowed, but I did it.
So, and what about from the other side? Obviously, you was raised in you know, a Muslim community, and you said a lot of women were wearing the niqab. Have you ever met any women who were forced to wear it?
No, not at all.
So what would you advise other sisters like yourself who really want to wear the niqab, but they, you know, they feel that they're maybe not at the right level, or they don't feel confident to wear it?
If you feel like it's right for you, you feel like you understand it, and you can overcome the hardship that comes with it. I'm not saying the niqab is easy, like that this life is a test. This niqab is a test as well. It's a test of patience, a test of iman, it's a test of, you know, your ideologies and how firm you're up on it. You know, so if you're ready for it and you feel it in your heart, don't care about anyone else, what anyone says. Just care about what Allah Azza wa said. And you have to have that firmity in your heart. You have to know like where your foundation is. You have to know that you're doing it for the sake of Allah Azza wa. You have to honestly purify it. So once you wear it, you're sure, because sometimes some people will not agree with what you're wearing. And if you're someone that is easily influenced by backlashes and what people have to say, you will take it off. And what my auntie said to me was like, once you take your niqab off, you don't know what you might take off next. Maybe the jilbab, then you'll go backwards instead of going forward. You moving towards a niqab is a strength of your iman. It's proving that you're getting somewhere. Don't belittle yourself and think that I am not worthy enough of wearing that. I'm not worthy enough of doing that yet. Do you think tomorrow is going to be promised? You don't know. Tomorrow, like, you could have worn a niqab and be gone with a niqab and Allahumma barik, you know? So once you want to do, if you want to do it, put your trust in Allah, pray and understand it, and, you know, have that strong foundation of why you're wearing and why you want to do it, then khalas, put it on, inshallah. You got it. Yeah. That's it, sister.
Mashallah, really good advice, and it's important. I think I like what you said about putting on the niqab. You just have to keep going forward, because obviously the niqab is an outer act of worship that you're doing.
Definitely.
But there's so many things in Islam. So when you do feel like you have weak iman, and it's going to happen to everybody regardless, you just have to look for other things like that you can try to pursue in your deen, to kind of to help to build you up, to constantly build you, even if it's something very small. So it's not that it's the niqab isn't like the end, like, oh, like that's it now, I've reached like the level of
No,
it's not like
definitely
that. But it's important what you said. We don't want to go backwards, so we want to keep going forwards. And if you do feel like your iman is weak at any point, and you feel like, oh no, maybe I should stop wearing the niqab. I'm not saying everybody it's going to be easy for everybody to wear it all the time, because maybe some people, for example, they need to make a living and they have to take it off for whatever reason. There could be a situation where they feel that they've really been forced not to wear it. But you need to focus on your iman. Don't leave the niqab and then leave other things in the religion as well. You need to keep building, subhanallah.
Definitely.
So have you managed to do
forward.
any kind of traveling at all with the niqab on? Have you been abroad? I know it's been locked down and stuff, but some people have been away. Have you traveled?
Yeah, I went to France.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I've got family there, so I went to visit some family, and it was difficult. Like, people would stare, and they're not as open-minded as people here, I guess.
Did you actually wear
Even
the niqab in France?
at one point I was, but I eventually I put on, like, half a niqab, and I put it in, so it looked like a mask.
Okay,
But I was still getting stared at. But even yeah,
you did well. You did well. Wow.
yeah, and even my cousins, my family were telling me off. They were like, take it off. I was like, no. But I take it off, take it off. So I literally went. I was like, what are you doing? Like, you're gonna get fined and stuff. And subhanallah, yeah, it was really strange. And when I went, I got my cousins some jilbabs and stuff. And obviously we're all kind of wearing jilbabs, and we were getting stared at, because they're not used. It's just the jilbab she was wearing, but we were getting stared at and stuff. And I think at one point the police officer approached us, and he was speaking to my cousin, and my cousin is very, I don't know, she's a very shy person. When someone is talking to her, and she doesn't speak up, and he heard me like speak on the phone in English, so he just assumed that I didn't speak French. So he was just like asking us questions, and I didn't say anything. And eventually when he kind of like pulled back, I started speaking French, and I was just ranting. I was like, how dare you stop us here because of the way we're dressed? Because you heard me speak English, you didn't think that I would understand what you're saying, what you're speaking. And he was just like gobsmacked. He was like, whoa, like, where did this come from? And I was like, don't speak to her like that, because we wear this, we're humane just like you. So there's a lot of discrimination in France. Like, they need to kind of like sort it out a bit. But eventually you just have to kind of like firm it and just kind of like get it on, just like I said, it's all about iman and how firm you are upon it, and not care about what people say. Because if one person stands up, another person will stand. But if everyone just backs out, we're not going to move forward.
Yeah, of course. SubhanAllah. It's so hypocritical though, because I mean, the face mask is mandatory anyways. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can imagine, like you said, you was wearing a half niqab and you tucked it into your your scarf, so
yeah,
it would literally just look like any face mask.
Yeah, and everyone thought I was wearing a niqab on my socials. And I was like, yeah, like they just assumed I was. It's very stupid, honestly, for the niqab to be to be banned in France, but the mask to be obligatory. Honestly,
it's just,
and with what's happening right now, it's really difficult for people there. And like I hear stories from my family then, and just like last night I had my cousin speak to me. She was telling me how low her iman is and how difficult it is to practice here, to even wear like abaya and jilbab, and like she was just like, subhanallah, just made dua for us. It's really difficult, because it's like I can see us going backwards. And I was like, don't say that, like I don't want to hear you saying you're going backwards. I want to hear you going forward. She's like, well, when you're in this environment, it's really hard to move forward.
It must be like feeling very trapped, isn't it?
Definitely being stopped from like your own belief, and you don't have your rights or your freedom.
Really, really difficult.
Definitely.
Okay. So, sister, finally, well, actually, I'm going to ask you on that note, do you think that the niqab is a barrier?
A barrier. It's a barrier of protection. Because only people who understands the value of niqab will appreciate you. People who are close to Allah Azza wa Jal will be close to you, you know. It's with your niqab, like with me, I personally feel like it's a barrier of protection, not a barrier from anything, a barrier of protection. You won't see a sister in a niqab, I don't know, ala wa alam, but you won't see a righteous, pious sister of a niqab in a shisha bar or in a nightclub or anything like that. It'll preserve you from areas that you're not meant to be at. It will help you with your mannerism. It will help you with your deen and your akhlaq, and it will also give you, you know, taqwa. You'll be so God conscious of Allah every time that where you are and how you are. So I personally would not say it's a negative barrier. I think it's a positive barrier, you know, and it will allow you to what's the word I'm looking for? It will just allow, it will permit you to always try your best in the deen and the way you act and your mannerism, and it's a form of dawah as well. And what I've noticed, and my other niqabi friends have said, every time you see a niqab, like a niqabi, you make dua for that person, right? So imagine how many people that see you and they make dua for you and they say Allahumma barik, or Allah, I ask her to give her strength, and you get motivation from people. And I was one of those people when I saw like my friend wearing a niqab, and I was so motivated, and I would make dua for her all the time, you know. So the niqab is a barrier of protection. It's a barrier of khair, and you know, it's something that brings you close to Allah Azza wa Jal, and it surrounds you with good and pious people because you are who you are, isn't it?
Alhamdulillah,
so,
yeah. And while since living in Manchester, obviously studying and everything, have you experienced any kind of abuse for wearing the niqab, or do you know of any other sisters who have been abused for wearing it?
For wearing it, I don't think I know anyone that has been abused for wearing a niqab here at all. With me, not Taiwan. You know, just some people who just don't understand it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it. Just questions. But no, I've never been abused in terms of like on a niqab or anything like this. No. Alhamdulillah.
So what does the niqab mean to you, sister?
That's a deep question, subhanAllah. What does the niqab mean to me? I would say it's part of my identity now. The niqab is something that I love. It reminds me of Allah. It keeps me in check. And like I'm going to say this again, the niqab is a protection as well. And it reminds me of making jihad for the sake of Allah. Definitely the last one, yeah.
Jazakallah khair, sister. Thank you so much
for
talking to me today. I've really enjoyed this interview. Allahumma barik.
Same. Jazakallah khair. Subhanakallah bihamdika wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.